Yeah, so just very shortly, I would like to have please a very short explanation of what the difference is between what is called a value chain and a supply chain, and then to enlighten us even more, but also to lead us to the next part of our discussion.
Okay, thank you. So, value, supply, they are the two different words on the chain. And the chain is like small, small rings that are joined together. And it looks sometimes like a rope that is tied. And as we are talking about value chain, this talks about, like Augustine said, he does orange flesh with potato. One of the things we do is poultry feed, and it has several components or aspects of the chain. So when we are talking about the value chain, it means what you do, what you take. So I add value to orange. Okay, I add value to poultry. What do I do? I get maybe chicken. I add value to that chicken. I can process it into different things. So the value chain talks about all of the players on that link that makes the chicken get to the market. All of the players. It might even be the person that hatches the chicks, the person that cleans or buys it at the end when it is ready for eating, the person that processes it. It's all part of the value chain. So it's movement from one place to another, what is being added to it. Sometimes value is being added by just moving the location. So taking palm oil from Ujen to Freetown, you've added value because you moved it from the production side to the market. And then you get somebody else maybe that will take that same palm oil and package it in a smaller and more easier fashion. That person has also added value that will make it more attractive to his or her own buyers. And now let's talk about the supply chain. The supply chain is like a movement within the value chain. The supply chain ensures that when I need maize to make feed for chicken, I get that maize right in my factory. The supply chain is also talking about when the chicken produces manure and I need to sell soil enhancers to go back to the soil that produces the maize. There is something or someone that takes it from that place to the farmer that makes that soil richer for growing crops. So if I could say value chain and supply chain, I would say supply chain moves. It makes movement, it takes care of the logistics, and then the value chain is what adds value, makes it becomes better, break it down, bulk to semi-bulk to units, sometimes to even removing the stick from the pepper, washing, cleaning, making it into pepper paste. It changes. Sometimes value is added, it's not change, it's movement, but most times value addition brings some amount of changes. So for example, if I'm doing rice, I want the rice, I want to add value to that rice. I will not give you the rice with stones, right? I'll give you the rice without stones. Maybe I'll not even give you the big 50 kg bag, I'll give you in 1 kg bags or containers. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bridget, for that. So, Augustine, I just wanted to now go back to what you said a while ago about markets. So access to market and also receiving feedback from markets it, represent a very big aspect of the value chain. So how do you assess our own, the relationship or the communication between the markets and those farmers, those who add value and all, and how can we even improve on it?
Yeah, in the area of access to markets,
Mm.
uh, there are various channels we use as entrepreneurs.
Mm.
Yeah, various marketing channels to engage them and to have our products, our various products being marketed to them. Yeah. The challenge has been the area of access to information, even under the category of access to market, market information. Um, the only thing we can bank on as a country now in terms of information is the social media. Social media. So that's largely what we've been banking on in order to provide customer market. But actually, the area of the variation in prices has to a large extent huge impact, if not on player A, but on player B. Because at the end of the day, the people will go for the best price offer. So we have to be collaborative as players in the market. We have to be collaborative to develop a system where we can have a portal to harmonize our various prices, to harmonize our prices and then send them to the market. But if we do not strengthen our level of engagement, at the end of the day, it affects us thriving in the market.
Yeah. So that's really true when it comes to information being supposed to be shared and being key, right? Or to the one who adds value, the value addition player, for them to be able to know how to satisfy the end user and at the same time not be harmed when it comes to what the price gonna be from the farmer. So we talked a lot about technology being invited in the sector, but then what does it take, for those young people, the dynamic youth that we have, who are out there, who are unemployed, who are full of potential, who can make the difference, but who still are waiting for government, for foreigners, who are just waiting for it to happen. How can we make sure that we leverage them to have that digitalization and the technological aspect that is needed to be invited in the agricultural sector?
Thank you. First of all, as youth, we are not supposed to wait. I'm saying we, you might think that I'm not youth, I'm not youth. But I believe in the adage that one is as old as one thinks. There was a saying, I'm not saying is, there was a saying that good things come to those who wait. No, it no longer comes. Now, we seek. So there is a lot of things that we, the young people, can do. One, most of us that are seated here, we have access to education, we have access to social media. So in these areas, first of all, increase your interest. The time you spend gisting on social media, there is Professor Google. You know Professor Google? Yeah. Sometimes when my kids ask me some questions, I said I don't know, please go to Professor Google. Let's make use of all of these things we have at our fingertips. And sometimes we could even go and volunteer. Sometimes the young people, they will tell you, Madam, I'm looking for work. Sometimes I talk to them, I say, it's a lie, you are not looking for work. You are looking for somewhere to hold. Because agriculture is work. It's not just brain work, it's brain work. Sometimes it looks like back-breaking work. Sometimes you need tenacity to be in that work. Sometimes you need not to give up. Imagine you plant your seed and you cannot just leave that seed and go. You have to monitor it until it produces what you want. There are some crops you plant, it takes 5 years. Does the youth have enough patience to wait for that time? And then the youth must be vibrant enough, angry enough, not waiting for people. When we were at the university, there were those who were sent to school and there were those who took themselves to school. The people that did more excellent were the people that took themselves to school. Don't wait to take yourself to school. Ensure that when you are sent to school, you do excellent. Because there will come a time when you take yourself to school, it's not because out of pleasantness. You understand? Maybe you are in some workplace that somebody is insulting you for a paper. You see, this paper, you get so angry, you too, you study and get the paper so that you can now compete on level ground. Maybe you know the job more than the person, but because the person has the paper or the qualification, they will give the person maybe 10 times your pay, they will give the person 10 times your position, your respect. You are required like to every morning. Next time when they send you to school, you'll be serious. So as young people, there are so many opportunities. In fact, one of the business we are doing right now, we raise chicks. We sell them to people that want to do, maybe you want to practice poultry farming. We set up for you. We sell these chicks to you. We support you to succeed. How many people are coming forward? For this one, it does not involve a lot of huge investment. You can invest as low as 100 chicks. You can get eggs. You can invest as low as maybe 50 or 100 broilers, so that you can see how it is. Maybe you don't just jump into it. But sometimes I see that the young people don't have enough enthusiasm or desire. We just want to post for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We like posing because, for example, after this meeting, including myself, we'll take pictures that I came to this meeting today. But after taking the photos, what will we do with what we get? Today is not just about me, it's about igniting ourselves. You know, ignition, the ignition key. Your car cannot move without you starting it. Now it has moved. Sometimes there is no longer key, but like a button. So press that ignition button so that we will arise and take action, do something. Don't wait to be pushed all the time. As a young person, push yourself. What is it that you are passionate about? You spend all of your time on your phone. What are you doing with that phone? Is that phone giving you money? You can gather pricing information, market information, and disseminate it. You do it consistently, people will start paying for it. There is always something we can do on technology. Because there are some people that were born before computer, says one of my former bosses, say, please don't harass me with this your computer and report business. Please. Me, I am BBC. But us, these young people, we are not born before computer. We came together. So we have knowledge of this technology. Let's make use of them. Where in this technology we can. In fact, there are some experts that are needed for soil testing. You can study it. You can start with Professor Google and move on. And maybe you can get their scholarships all around. If you are passionate enough, you are desirous enough, you will be searching. You will be looking. But if you don't do anything, you just sit down. No change.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, it has to do, yes, with that engagement, but also I think with curiosity, you know, which is an ingredient that is missing among our youth, and that's something we need to revive because even if you are going to school just for that paper, for the degree, but you don't want to have the technicity, the capacity of that sharp skill that helps you, you know, as she was saying, that helps you analyze a soil and know the difference and even give solutions to it, or utilize drones, you know, because some of those things we just consider that somebody else has to come and do it for us, even though that transfer of technologies and of competence needs to be done. But we also need to be curious enough and to go for it, for us to be able to find it, you know, to find that skill, to find that capacity that we don't have as a community and that we can acquire, that is absolutely very, very available to us. Yes, Augustine, just to conclude before we proceed to question and answer session, I just wanted to know how we can utilize the gaps that exist in this sector for those young people, you know, to find their place in the sector, as we were discussing about when we said that it's not about seeing problems, but rather seeing opportunities for entrepreneurship and for wealth creation. How can we utilize those gaps to help those young people create wealth for themselves, but also for the nation, you know, and at the same time help the people who are already in farming create wealth? Because at the end of the day, as both of you said, you look at agriculture, you think that it's just backbreaking work. It's for your subsistence. It's not for wealth creation. How can we change those dynamics and bring wealth while doing agriculture?
Well, this is one of the means we are using this platform to inspire and ignite young people to provoke them to action. Yeah. We have, for example, Phoenix Manufacturing.
Mm.
It's a local technological manufacturing company. Um, I was so surprised when I loved the intervention of the EU under their boosting agriculture for food security project. The project was geared towards supporting farmers, but there they had to give Phoenix support because he's producing almost every other machinery you need. Irrigation machines, it's producing machine for palm oil production, for cassava processing. In Sierra Leone, in Freetown here. In Freetown here, Phoenix is available. So this is a golden opportunity. If we have, these are Sierra Leonean. If we have people like him doing something great like that, our young people should have that call to duty. When I started my early life, I left the seminary. I started going to Action Aid as a volunteer. Yeah, no one asked me to. I sat down, I reflected, and I know what my purpose in life is. So I took up the step. I volunteered for them. Maybe for a day they give me 5,000 euros as self-petition back. But I was so committed until at some point they saw the real potential in me. And that assisted me to assume onto the rank of a project coordinator for Action Aid International. So it's about young people having that sense of purpose and then taking positive action to ensure they create a space for themselves. When I went to the university to study law, I had no finance. What I had was the belief and the action orientedness in me. I believed, I acted, and I was able to sail through. When I started my company, I had not a single dime from anybody. I started on a good footing, and later, yes, I was able to attract the World Bank funding. Here is a gentleman whose father abandoned him. I was left with a single mother, and my mother was battling with her health. But today, I am able to be a job creator for up to 15 people working for me directly. I'm able today to support a farmer out-to-go system of 350 women farmers. I left the law. Today, my company's worth is climbing to 1 billion euros. All of these are not done by magic. It is about you having a sense of purpose and then moving to that direction. You don't have to wait for government to come knock at your door and say, here is a food on the table for you to eat. You have to wake up. The power you have, the resource you have as young people is your energy and your potential to transform your lives and transform society. So you have to largely bank on that energy, bank on that potential to ensure you make the difference.
Thank you so much for that. In those inspiring words with which we're going to end, because we don't need more than this. We are looking for role models, for people who are making it happen. Because at the end of the day, you summarized it so well when you talked about not having, a golden pocket under your bed when you were starting your business. It's not also because the beginnings were that bright that you had that supporting family and all. It's because of that fire inside you and that sense of action, and the calling, the fact that we have to make this happen. We have to develop this continent that we happen to find ourselves in, and for which we are so we are responsible and we owe so much to. So thank you so much for joining us today, for making our evening or afternoon super nice and igniting and inspiring. We appreciate that so much. So we will proceed to the question and answer session with Desmond.
Yes, ma'am. According to you, say we should bank on our youth for agricultural project. But this youth we are going to bank on do not love agriculture. How should we bank on them?
My question is between hydroponics and greenhousing, which one of these is more reliable to work with and yields more increase faster?
If you become the president, what are the three things you should prioritize as a president in terms of agriculture?
As an organization or entrepreneur, what will you do to eradicate the challenges you face towards the growing or cultivation of crops in Sierra Leone?
Of course, my question was three questions. The first one go for Mr. Bangua, as you are saying about the marketing challenges. The question is it the price that makes the agricultural product not to be much in its marketing, or is it for other things? Because I believe that most people will rather go for um, the imported agricultural product rather than going for the local agricultural product because of the same price. So I don't know what's the is it for the price or other stuff? And again for Madam, I believe that due to my research, I was given an assignment to research on agriculture agro service centers because these centers are responsible to help local farmers in doing their agricultural activities like giving them their service like agro to give them machineries to work on their farms or other stuff. Is it any agro service center in Sierra Leone? Because to my research, I have not seen one in Sierra Leone that is responsible to give services to the local farmers that didn't able to provide um, machineries and other agricultural tools to do their farming activities. Because as for Sierra Leone, it's in all over other West African country, but Sierra Leone, I didn't see it. So I don't know if there anyone that.
Okay, first of all, why don't the youth like agriculture? Is it because they think there is no money in agriculture, sufficient money, or they think it is not funky, or they think it is not like the hype of the day? Why? So let's start. As a youth, you can make whatever you do funky. You can make it trend. You can call your friends, you say, you know what, let's trend agriculture today, let's trend poultry farming today. You can do it because if you can ask your friends to trend Arsenal or Manchester for the day, why don't you ask your friends to trend what is interested to you? So what's the issue? Is it the youth don't want to work, or is it the youth don't find agriculture interesting? We need to examine all of this. So the first thing is, when the youth are ready, they are interested in food production, what they do, they can make it trendy. You can go anywhere, in fact now technology is advancing. So if you think that when you go to the villages to work you will not get technology, it's a lie. Go with your technology, take Freetown to the villages, it will help them. So if this is what gives you money, we need to change our mindsets and our perspective. For me, Augustine was talking about his company working over $1 billion. My co-founder did not permit me to say how much Lambano is worth today. When I started, I did not study agriculture in school. I did not study nutrition or food processing in school. I did not study any of them or poultry farming. I had to study starting from Dr. Google. I paid money to go to other countries to learn. I was so curious. Sometimes when I talk with people that got PhD in agriculture, they ask me, which university did you study? Sometimes I study or I learn faster than some of these people. I will tell you at what age, what you should give to your chicks, what you should do, which kind of vaccine they need, what food they need. The other day I was telling Aminata that the chicks are rare. I have a particular set that I give maggot to it. She was asking me why maggot. I said, you don't know maggot has protein. The chicks, they look for maggots when the chicks are scratching the ground. They are looking for all of these things. So we make it available to them. After the chicks finish eating what we used to grow the maggot on, we use that added with the droppings, and we now do it as manure, because we don't want anything to go to waste. So what is it that you do? Make it funky, make it interesting. When I post, sometimes when we go to places, I take my product. There was a day somebody was saying, with all of your education, you are now selling ogiri and pepper. And then I said, yes, people like me, educated, highly placed like me, want to eat ogiri and pepper, but they want it from people like me. So who best to serve them than me? Rivers don't exist for themselves. We all exist to provide service or things for other people. If we don't make it interesting, in fact, one morning sleeping will stop becoming interesting for you. If agriculture is not interesting, is it begging that is interesting? Give me money for food, give me money for toothpaste. Especially our young ladies, they think they should give them everything. Give me, give me, give me, give me. When there is so much we could do. Let's make it interesting. It is very interesting. Have you imagined after 3 days or 7 days, you see new crops coming up? What is more interesting than that green life coming up?
Somebody was asking between hydroponics and greenhousing, which is more effective. And I'll tell you greenhousing. Yeah, it's very cost effective, and so as a result, it will be more sustainable. You know, if you want to start maybe from a small footing, hydroponics is capital intensive. So I'll advise you. Of course, we have the resources for both. We have the soil, we have the water. Yeah, but it is capital intensive. So if you want to start on a small scale, then you go for greenhousing for a start.
Let me add something to that. Remember, when you are planting anything, you look at the cost and what you expect to get. It's a business, right? So if you need to not just plant for plant's sake, look at what the market wants. Look at what is more cost effective, how productive it can be. Look at how much you can make for planting that one, all of that. So the best thing I consider for greenhouse is vegetables. Vegetable sales throughout the year. Do you know okra cost 500 leons for one, even at Dove cost today? One okra, one. During rainy season, they will beg you to take it away from them. Imagine now it costs 500 leons for one. And you'll be sitting down there saying that okra grows in Sierra Leone. At this point of the year, who grows it where? So if you have a greenhouse, you target what you grow and when, because you are in it for business, not as a way of life, not as a culture.
So somebody was asking if I become a president, what I was going to prioritize to settle. Firstly, I will tell you, it's to re-strategize the structure of the NYC. Do we know about the NYC? It's the National Youth Corps. Have we heard about this? The NYC, okay. So the NYC, it's more effective in Nigeria. For example, when you become a graduate, before ever you can go into the job market to seek employment under any office, you have to serve the government for a whole year. Do you know we have it in Sierra Leone? Yes, we have it. But imagine the satire behind it. What they do in taking you at the Sierra Leone National Youth Corps and other countries that I have seen is to ensure they attach you to offices to do your service. So they directly instill in you that you should be a job seeker and not a job creator. They instill in you that yes, you should go in for fancy, sit in an office, in a cozy office with fully air-conditioned facilities and all of that. They don't look at the opportunities we have as a country. And the only sustainable sector, say what you may, we have as a country is agriculture. This is where our niche is. There will come a time, there will be no diamonds, there will be no gold. We will have successfully achieved our aims to deplete our environment just in the mining of iron ore. So why can't we? If I am a president, what I will do is to re-strategize, ensure you go to the farm, and upon successful completion, the government provides for you seed capital of at least $5,000 each. to ensure, after being inspired, 1 year working with people like Lambano, with Sierra Agri-Foods, learning these basics, going to the farm, I'm sure you'll be inspired. And after that, you'll be graded. Say you are attached to Lambano. See how Lambano is doing all of his process, how he's relating with the farmer, she's relating with the farmer, and all other actors in the value chain. You learn. At the end of the day, Lambano will have to write a report about your overall performance. And it will be graded, and those who performed extremely well will be provided a seed capital of $5,000. Be it refundable or otherwise. But if you do that, you will definitely address the challenge of youth coming all the way to Freetown. When I do work, in fact, McKinney is my new home, Bo is my new home, these zonal areas of production are my homes. You know, the youth will be seated here. The rest of the day, I went to a restaurant yesterday to eat, and there was this gentleman seated, and then we parked, and hey, sir, okay, people, okay, I'll be watching. And when I was ready to come and say, yes, what's in your wallet? Yes, I looked at him, and I was with Lovell, so I had to share my business card with him. I said, call me, let's talk. And I know what the outcome is going to be, even if I encourage him to move to the province. I know it will be a very, very, very hard thing to do. He's a young man that has a lot of potential, he's good looking, and all of that. We have thousands of those sort of young people here in the city. What are you doing? Go to the province, change your lives. The opportunities are enormous. So if I am going to become a president, this will be my first area, because we have to target the youth. Like the African Development Bank president said, the youth are the resource of Africa, and we have to harness them as a tangible dividend for the development of Africa. So we'll have to ensure we strengthen the NYC. And I hope when the government officials hear this part of it, maybe they will go to the drawing board and re-strategize how they do things like this. Yeah. Thank you.
There's a question that says, what makes locally produced products more expensive than imported ones? Is it the selling price or what? So I will tell you some of my experiences. One, do you know that in Sierra Leone, most of the things we produce are without additive and preservative? So, if these imported things that they are sending are without additive and preservative, they are organic, natural, do you know that they will cost 10 times what the ones you buy at the supermarket? So, and also, have you checked the age of the things you eat? In Sierra Leone, our rice don't keep for more than 2 years. We don't store rice for like more than 2-3 years. No. The rice tastes fresh. The rice I'm selling was harvested 2021, processed and harvested. The rice that comes into Sierra Leone, sometimes it takes more than 6 or 8 months on the sea, floating, finding a market. So all of that has to be considered. For me, I think it's a mindset thing. It's mindset, poverty in the sense that sometimes people cannot afford. Mindset in the sense that sometimes people were poor before, now they can afford, they don't think it's important. Mindset in the thinking that I take a lot. For example, producing organic things takes a lot. So maybe normal production might say, okay, let me just go and look for any chemical fertilizer, any chemical spray. If I'm producing this one, I will not look for chemicals. Chemicals are cheaper because they are made in the lab. The organic or natural ones, they are not cheaper. It comes with so much price. But the good news is we have a lot of them around that can be harnessed and make use of. So sometimes it's mindset. Sometimes it's poverty. And then
There is also the poverty mindset.
And I was going to add something.
You are poor, and your mindset is like, I need to eat like the poor.
Yes. So
behave like the poor, live like a poor, because my community is poor. I don't even have to drive that nice car or look healthy, wealthy, So the mindset is keeping you into that poverty.
Sure.
You don't have to get out of that. That's
And then you ask yourselves when questions like this come up, Can you compare the rate of cancer in Sierra Leone to that of the United States and Europe?
Hmm?
Do you know why is that? 80% of your life depends on what you consume.
Mhm.
If you want to live long, you want to live healthy, it depends on what you consume. They have all of these fancy food products, very expensive,
In fact, the people
that they
say-
consume. But do you know what their health challenges are?
No,
But
it's,
we remain one of the most healthy populations in the world.
Yeah,
So you
and
begin to
just
ask
just
yourself
to
questions
add
like
to
this.
add
If
to
you-
that, somebody was asking me about microwave. We were talking about microwaving and stuff, and he said, "Oh, but the West is using it that so much and stuff." And I was like, "The West is the most medicated, most depressed, most sick,
suicidal.
medicated, that like the level of suicide." So talking about mental health and the general health and all that, and at the end of the day, as Africans, being here, living here, and still having to suffer from all those diseases while having access to those fertile lands, to those organic. Because you go and pick your orange, that orange that looks so small and not attractive. Are you putting so much energy, so much fuel into your body? You look at, and that's something that we discussed also. You people being in the field doing this great work and being undermined by the population that doesn't know the value of the agriculture we are producing. That has to do with the sensitization. It has to do with us stopping the colonization, the colonized mindset we have of whatever they're eating is good, however they're living their lives is good. We need to stop it. We need to decolonize ourselves and start appreciating what we have. Because yes, it may look like how do you to call that yellow food again? There is a seasonal food that is filled with vitamin C. Um, yeah, orange, but not orange like plum. You have two types of plum, right? The small one and the other one. I had a friend who visited me from the States, and we were appreciating the food together. She was like, "No way, like, never have I tasted something under my palate that gave me this type of satisfaction. The only problem I have with this is it sticks between my teeth." And that's where the value addition comes in. That's where the transformation comes in. How to transform it into juice, into syrup. So we're sitting on diamonds, which is like the potential we have in terms of agriculture, but we are just looking down at it and just looking to the West, what they're doing, how they're living their lives, which is such a pity. Yeah, so let's join the battle of these great people and make things happen. Please.
They send to Africa are the poor people. That's what I discovered. There is something that is called MSG. It's mostly found in Maggi, white Maggi, blah, blah, blah. Do you know that one was like manufactured because of poor people poverty? Have you seen Western recipe that has Maggi to it? There are so many things that will give you that umami taste in your food that you don't need to add all of that. But it's like in our mindset, it was sold to us. We were sold that we must buy the Gino tomato that has so much additive to it, so much cornstarch and corn flour added. How have you seen tomato as red as that before? Don't you question some things?
Where are these coloring coming
Where
from?
are these things coming from? Do you know that there are some food that they import, they put, what is it that they put on dead bodies? Not clove, I've forgotten the name. No, there is something they put on dead bodies to preserve it. Do you know they add it to some imported
Yeah,
food?
like the chicken.
They add it to some imported food to make it not spoil, to make it look good. Flies, you will not see any fly on it. So it's a mindset.
Flies are smart, right?
Yes, they are not stupid. They want to keep us in poverty. So they colonize, not just like we must decolonize ourselves. The people that eat these foods that you see, they are poor people. They look obese. Wealthy people in the West that we think we are following, they eat natural, organic. They spend so much I talk with a lot of them. They are asking me, how can you send this your food for us? This is why COVID is not staying in your country, in your countries. These are some of the things, because all of the food you eat, most times they are immune boosters. Things like the gingers. We think it's just no. I am not sure, but government has started some things this year. They now have things like machinery. They are trying to move the agriculture, to privatize agriculture, getting the private sector involved. For previously, government will supply seeds to the farmer, rice seed in August. So that is, it's not for seed, it's for grain for them. They will supply fertilizer in September, October. Like, what do you want me to do with fertilizer this time when farming has passed? So now a lot of changes are happening. They are now becoming machineries, like centers. They are developing them. It's right now like they are bidding for them. It's on the whatever. So we'll get there. That's why we have so many young people that can do great things, that can move this economy, that can move the nation, that can help us export food. We used to export rice. I remember a friend of mine was telling me that when my parents were coming up, they used to buy Sierra Leone rice in Ghana. Where is that rice today? Have you compared the taste of a freshly harvested local parboiled rice with any other imported rice? There is no even a taste like that. Even the size, when you get the aroma, have you compared them? Don't think they send you the best. Let me just stop here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, great speakers. That's the issue with great speakers. They know that it cannot be changed in an hour, and also all the passion cannot be transferred in an hour. But then, for sure, they're around. We have them in Sierra Leone. They are locally produced, locally maintained. They are here with us, so we can, access to them. So the enabling environment is key when it comes to agriculture, because even if we want to make it, even if we have that great human capital that we do have, we still need, that central government to also be very supportive, to come up with those great policies that they already have, but to implement it, and make sure that farmers in the most remote locations are enabled and have the possibility of implementing their potentials. Also, when it comes to the challenges that we were taught today to look at as opportunities, you have access to markets, you have logistics, information provision along the value chain, and also the expertise, so all those we need to think of as gaps, but also as possibilities of entrepreneurship and of solutions. Also, we heard a lot about the understaffed in agriculture, being understaffed, while we have that great human resource in Africa. So that sense of purpose that Augustine was talking about, bringing it into that youth so that they consider this agriculture as something, yes, very attractive, very great in terms of bringing development. So also best practices that both of them are practicing. We have the research-based practices that Lambano is applying, but also the very strategic, innovative ways of perceiving niches, and opportunities, and just shifting very, very quickly. Those are, I think, aspects of entrepreneurship that we need to invite more and more into our ways of doing. Also, water banking was talked about, and it's the amount of rain that you see in here and the amount of water that is wasted along the streams of Freetown, and even with the pipes and all. That's our responsibility to think out of the box and just start now implementing all what we are learning when it comes to these exposures that we're having. Also, we talked about waste integration, and waste management within the farm, thinking of what to invite into your farming that will be fed by what the other aspect of farming was producing. All those are really very smart approaches, 360-degree approaches that are inclusive. Nothing is wasted, nothing is lost. Also, just wanted to end with wealth creation. I think as a nation, as a continent, we don't have a choice. We just have to work for abundance. We have to work for wealth creation because we are in a continent that needs it that much. We need to quit average. We need to quit being contented by poverty, by even average means, and let's target abundance, wealth creation for us not only to benefit from it, but to have our nations, our great continent benefit from it. Thank you so much for your presence, for your attention, and see you next month for another edition of the Education Hour. Thank you.